recording right now. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought that I'd do a question and answers type of video. Now I went onto my Slimming World Instagram account and I asked you guys to ask me some Slimming World related questions, and I just thought I'd do a nice chilled one, come on here and answer them. So I've got them all on my phone, so apologies if I look down at my phone all the time, but I just screenshotted some of them and I'm just literally going to whiz through this. So yeah, I just think this might be helpful to some people. Some questions came up quite a lot, so I'm going to try and stick to the ones that come up quite a lot and kept repeating, whatever, you know. Anyway, so yeah, without further rat-a-tat, let's get on with the vid. The first question is going to be, would you ever consider going veggie, vegan? I just love meat so much, and I'm really good. I'll always try and get like the organic things, and I'll always try and get the eggs. That means that the chickens aren't treated nastily. I don't know, caged. I would never get caged eggs. I'd always get the free range eggs. One of the girls at work, she's vegetarian, and some of the food she creates is like really stunning, and so I reckon I could do it. But I do love my meat so much, and it is what fills me up with all the protein. So probably not, but I respect those people that are, and I totally see why some people are, but I just have always loved my meat. Next question is, let me have a little look. What pushed me to start Slimming World? Now, I'll always say this to everybody, and it's the same answer no matter how many people ask me or who asks me, but it was when Bear and I were in Croatia. It was our first abroad holiday together, and we were on the plane on the way home, and we were going through the photos of the holiday, and there's this one photo which I will insert here of me on the Segway, and when I looked at that photo, I just thought, oh my gosh, that is not me. Like, I'd let myself go so much, and I was so uncomfortable in the way I was feeling, and I remember that holiday just being uncomfortable the whole way through, like worrying what I was going to wear, because I just felt really, it wasn't that I didn't like, well, obviously I didn't like the way I looked, but I just felt uncomfortable, and I don't know if that makes sense, but like chub rub, like I had the worst chub rub, and that can really ruin your holiday. And I remember I used to like hide shorts underneath dresses just so my legs wouldn't rub together. So that one thing which will always stick with me, and I'll always remember the way I felt that holiday. But it's really exciting actually, because we're going back to that destination this year, so it's going to be really nice to sort of enjoy the things that I didn't enjoy as much as I could have when I was bigger. So yeah, that photo is probably the photo that made me start Slimming World, and made me realise that I wasn't healthy, I was unhappy. And I think sometimes when you look back on photos, you remember the way you were feeling at that time, and looking back at that photo, it reminded me how I felt. So yeah, it was that photo, and then obviously just again feeling not the greatest, not fit, not healthy, and ultimately not very happy really. How did you avoid binge eating when you have treats in the house? Now, I struggle with this massively. I am such a feeder. Like, I always go to the shops and I'll always buy treats and have them in the house, because whenever people come around, I love to offer them goodies. So I do find it hard, and I do open the Sinjal sometimes and think, oh my god, I'd love that, because Bear loves everything caramel, so I'm always getting him caramel things. So it is really tricky, but I just try to ensure that I have low sin options as well. So when Bear is having something naughty, I would obviously pick something that's lower in sins that I know is on plan, and then have that so it doesn't feel as though I'm missing out or losing out. But sometimes I do just binge, and I see it all, and then I have one thing, I thought, oh, I'll have the one thing, and then that one thing turns into 3 things, and then before you know it, the Sinjal's empty and I've eaten everything. So it is tricky, and I try not to buy loads of stuff for the flat, because I can easily be swayed into binging. But again, that's just all with control, and if you want your weight loss so bad, and if you're determined to get it, then you will find that strength in you not to pick at it so much. So yeah, that was the quick answer to that one. Now my phone's not on looking. Come on. My phone's broken. Bear with. How did you get the courage to join your group? Now, it is really overwhelming, and you do get really apprehensive about going, because it is one of those things that you're realising in your head, yeah, maybe I do need some support, maybe I do need help to lose weight. But then you've just got to think every single person in that Slimming World group sat there is in the same position as you, and they were all feeling exactly the same way you're feeling before walking into that group. Everybody there is there for a reason, and nobody's ever going to judge you for that, because they'll be able to understand why you're there and where you're coming from. So it's probably the safest place to be when losing weight, because everybody, like I said, is so understanding and so supportive of one another. So you've got to try and put the fear behind and try and realise that everybody is there to achieve the same goals, to lose weight. And it does become like a massive community when you find yourself a really good group with loving members. It is sort of like a social aspect. Like for me, I absolutely love going to group because it's like a social thing for me to do, and like I get to get out of the house and meet new people and talk about people's successes and see how people are doing, and it's just a really nice thing. So although it is really daunting at the start, as soon as you walk in that door, you'll just feel the love, and you'll know that what was I worrying about? This is probably the best decision I've ever made walking through these doors, and I'm not going to regret this decision. So just always reassure yourself that everybody's in the same boat and you're all there for the same reason, and no one is ever going to look at you in a funny way or think. At the end of the day, as much as they care about your journey and they like seeing your success, they are there for their own journey. So they've obviously got problems within regards to their weight loss journeys, and well, not problems, but they've obviously got reasons why they're there, and you've got reasons why you're there. So everybody's there for a reason, and yeah, it's just a really, really nice place to be, and I absolutely love it. And I would recommend, if anyone's doing Slimming World, to most definitely go to a group and stick to a group. I've got another one which I think is a really good one, is tips for a student on Slimming World on a super low budget and not near a supermarket. So I started Slimming World when I was a student at university, and I did worry. I thought, oh my god, how the hell am I going to afford to get all these fresh foods, fresh fruit, fresh veg all the time, because obviously the majority of what we can eat is all fresh. And I was panicking, and in my head I was thinking, right, I'm not going to be able to do it, I'm on a budget, there's no way in how I'm going to be able to do it. But you can find ways around it, and there's loads of stuff online that will help you. But just off the top of my head, I would get things like frozen veg and frozen fruit, which would obviously keep for a longer time, so you're not having to replenish your fridge all the time. I'd also buy the really cheap pasta, like, you know, you can get a Tesco value one, which is like cheap as chips, like 30p. I'd buy loads of that. Pasta and sauces, which are really low in sin, I'd always have those. I'd always also do like a massive batch cook on a Sunday, and then put, like, for example, lasagna, and I'll put it into loads of Tupperwares, and then put those in the freezer and the fridge, which obviously would take up less room than buying loads of ovens, loads of frozen stuff in the freezer. What else did I used to do? I used to just shop in sensible places as well, like Aldi and Lidl and Iceland, and then obviously, like I said, looking out for those like bargains you can get in Tesco and Asda. You can really get some good bargains, and half the time you don't have to get the branded things. So when I was a student, I wouldn't be getting the branded things. I'd be buying whatever was cheap, whatever I knew was on plan, and it does work. I mean, if you're determined and you're planned and you're organised and you're not just buying things and then wasting it, then it really does work if you're on a budget. And there's so many alternatives out there for, again, the higher end products. There's always there's cheaper choice for that product. So yeah, just being sensible with where you're shopping, what you're spending it on, and being prepared, really. Another question: how can you calculate SIM value without it being on the food search? Now, this is a question I get quite a lot, and I think it's really, not many people know about this. Now, so if something is not on the Slimming World app, basically, if you do Slimming World, then you get access to an app, and you can type in things. For example, if I'm in the shop and I think all those packets of crisps look nice, I'm not sure on the SIM value, I can type in Walker's packet of crisps, and it will come up with a SIM value. So if you can't find it on there, no matter how many things you type in and how many different ways you type it, you can actually email Slimming World. Now, I will insert here the email you can email, and if you were to send a picture of the photo of the front of the package and the back of the package and say, can you tell me the SIM value, they will actually come back to you with a SIM value. And I do this quite a lot with things that I think I know the SIM value, because obviously there's the whole rule of 20 calories per SIM, but half the time I'd rather get reassurance and confirmation from the Slimming World. So yeah, that'd be really handy for you guys if you didn't know that happens. They do take quite a while to reply, which is obviously understandable because probably thousands of people message them. But if you really do want to know the SIM value of something and you don't know it, then yeah. Do you exercise? No, I don't. I don't like exercising. I've tried to. I know it's really good for you, and I'd love to sort of incorporate it in the future, but I don't do any exercise. I know I should, because it's really good for your endorphins or whatever you call it, but I don't do any exercise, and I haven't done since the start of my journey. So I have lost the weight from simply following the Slimming World plan. Or this isn't a Slimming World one, but I have to answer it. Do you have / want any pets? Well, yes, I do have a pet. I have a dog. I have a Springer Spaniel called Archie, but he lives at my dad's, and I'm obsessed. I probably would literally cry every time I see him. I get so excited when I see him. He gets so excited when he sees me, and he's the best thing ever. And Bear and I most definitely want a dog when we're older, when we've got a house. We love dogs. Every single dog we see, we like scream, and we're like, oh my god, look at that dog. I have to pet every dog that I walk past. We absolutely love a dog. We'd love a Labrador. We would also love what's it called? The big ones, the police dogs. I want to say Alsatian, I think that's the one. Yeah, we'd absolutely love a dog. So what do you prefer to use your sins on? This is a really good one as well. I typically would use my sins on sauces. So for example, ketchup and mayo. I love ketchup, I love mayo. I'd also use them on hot chocolates, low sin chocolate sweets. I tend to use them on like the rice pots, the naked rice pots. I love those. I love the katsu curry one for 2.5 sins. What else? I love Chewits, as you guys probably know if you follow me on Instagram. Curly Whirlies I absolutely love. So yeah, it varies really. I try to spend them on treats rather than sauces, because half the time with the sauces you can make your own, like with pasta sauces and jars and stuff. I would never touch that anymore because they're full of sins, whereas you can make your own with chopped tomatoes and things like that. So it's a mixture between sauces and food, and then obviously sins and treats and things like that. What were your eating habits like before you started Slimming World? Awful. I would eat everything and anything, and I'd just eat for the sake of eating. I remember I'd go to uni in first year, and every single majority, every other day, I'd go stop in, because there was a McDonald's right next to my uni campus, and I'd stop there and I'd get a chicken sandwich meal with chips, cheese bites, a student mayo chicken burger, and a chocolate milkshake all the time. And it would just be like a thing that I did, and I wouldn't even know how bad it was for me. I'd have takeaways all the time. Like I said before, I love ketchup and mayo. I'd be having tons of ketchup and mayo on everything, and just rubbish, like toast, bread, butter, and it was just awful, and it wasn't healthy, and I felt so sluggish and slobbish, and it just wasn't great. Like it wasn't healthy for me at all. Do you remember how you felt / looked when you were at your highest weight? Yes, I will never forget how I felt. That feeling I will probably have forever, because it was awful. Really not good. But then now I try not to dwell on it, and I try to think, yeah, I can remember how I felt, and then I focus on how I feel now. So I would never sort of sit there and think, oh, I was so sad, I was so uncomfortable. I think you were, Chloe, but now you're here and you're happier, and you have the confidence to sit in front of a camera. Like before, I would not have the confidence to do this and talk about my journey. So yeah, I definitely remember how I feel. When I look back on photos, I think, oh my gosh, I don't even recognise myself. And like when me and Bear look back on some photos, and me and the girls, we're just like, they say they can't remember me like that, and that is because I think I did hide my weight quite a lot, like quite well. Like I'd wear baggy clothes, and so it wasn't until I started losing weight and comparing the photos, it was like, oh my gosh, I was bigger. So yeah, I definitely do remember how I feel and how I looked. How long was it before other people started seeing your weight loss and commenting on it? It took about I think it took about a month and a half for people to start realising, and it came off my face straight away. I'll always remember that. My face got a lot less puffy and fluffy, is what I like to call it. So it took about a month. I know it was people that I was seeing regularly, not people that I wasn't seeing regularly, because obviously the people that I see daily don't really see the changes. So at uni, like with my best friend Ryan and stuff, like he wouldn't really see the changes. But when it came to like, obviously because I moved away, when it came to like seeing my mum and that, they'd notice, and then every time it got on and on and on, the people that I don't see often would notice. So sometimes you don't notice, but other people do. So keep going until people notice, and that will really urge you to carry on. What is the one high sim food you crave? Chicken korma. I love a chicken korma. Chicken korma, garlic naan, poppadoms with the mint sauce. Love it. That is what I crave all the time. I also love a Domino's. God, what I'd do to be able to eat that. what is your target weight? So my target weight is 8 stone 12. I'm currently not at 8 stone 12. I do have a bit to go to get back down to that. But I'm just being kind to myself, and I will get back there, but that's why I'm most happy. Well, 8 stone 12, 9 stone really is where I like to be. So yeah, I'm quite over that at the moment, but that's fine. We'll get back there. We'll get back there. How do you cope in your social life, drinking and nights in with friends? So I don't really drink. I never have. Bear and I, when we drink, we binge drink. I know how awful that sounds and how not great, and I wouldn't recommend it, but whenever we drink, it's only because we're drinking to go out, like out. We'd never just sit with a bottle of wine. I don't know, we're just not those sort. We don't drink like that, and I'd rather have a Pepsi Max. So it's not really an issue for me. And when I do drink, I do just drink what I want, because like I said, I never do it. So if I was to go out with the girls for drinks, I would drink what I want, but I would plan ahead, knowing that I was probably having quite a lot of sins on cocktails, so I'd be really good the week before and the week after, just so you've got that balance there. But yeah, it's never really an issue because we don't drink loads. Do you have to measure your pasta even though it's free food? Now again, this is a really good question, and yeah, although it's free food, you can't have loads of it. You can't have loads of it. You have got to have it in moderation. So I wouldn't necessarily say measure it and make sure you have 75 grams or whatever, but I would say just be careful in what you're having and make sure you're just not overeating. And if you are having carbs and rice and pasta, just making sure you're having the speed foods with it as well. That will really help you. And another one, which is probably, I'll stop, I'll do a few more and then I'll stop because I'm probably boring you. Best tips for getting back on Slimming World successfully. So I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but over Christmas time I put on 1.5 stone, and I'm still in the process of getting that off. As I said, I'm not a target, but for me it was sort of going back to the very start and eating the foods that I used to love when I first started Slimming World. So I'd go back and I'd look at my old food diaries. So if you've got any food diaries kept, then definitely look back on those. I would also recommend getting yourself a food planner. I really love the Princess Planning food planners. I will link them below there. Oh, they're so good. They make you want to plan ahead. They make you want to write recipes down. They make you want to do food plans for the week. So that I'd say get all your magazines out, get your books out, which are full of Slimming World recipes, and write down some things you'd like to try. And I think as well, it's really important to set mini targets rather than having one end target, which might seem like miles away. So sort of doing a mini target, which might be something which is more realistic in reaching, rather than thinking, oh my god, I want to lose 4 stone, I'm never going to get there, then you give up. So just having realistic little goals along the way will really help you get back on it. And yeah, just being kind to yourself, lots of fluids, lots of speed food, always measure your healthy extra A's and B's. But yeah, that's sort of, I just thought I'd come on here and do a quick Q&A. I didn't want to keep you guys for too long because I know all the answers I'm saying you guys probably already know, but it was what some of you guys were asking me on Instagram, so I thought I'd just answer a few of those. And obviously I'm not a consultant, I'm not an expert. Like, everything I say, some people might think, oh, I don't agree with that, but this is just my opinion on the Slimming World journey and how it's worked for me. And I know sometimes people have different opinions and people do it differently, which is absolutely fine. Like, each to their own, you can do it however you want, but I know sometimes listening to people's questions and answers might help you guys. And I know surely when I listen to other people talking about Slimming World and the plan and how it works for them, what they do, it definitely helps. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm really going to try and push myself to make some more videos on here because I love it. I love sitting in front of this camera and chatting to you, and I love seeing you guys comment in the down box, and I love chatting to you all. And also I will do a tutorial on this hair because it's probably my favourite hair and it's so easy to do. I do look like, I'll just show you what I look like with it. I do look like a bit of a poodle, but yeah, it's my go-to hair. And yeah, that's it basically. Thank you guys so much for watching my Slimming World question and answers, and if you've guys got any more videos you'd like me to do, then let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye!